This is Congressman Sam B. Hall, Jr. reporting to you from Washington. The Supreme Court has completed its 1982-83 session with a flurry of activity that should have a tremendous impact on Congress and the nation. I was especially heartened by a Supreme Court ruling affirming the right of state legislatures to open their sessions with a prayer. What the High Court did was to reverse a lower court decision which said, in effect, that public funds could not be used for the salary of a chaplain for the Nebraska legislature. The suit brought in federal district court was comparable to a suit filed by a group of atheists who want to stop salaries for chaplains in the U.S. Congress. While this suit is still in litigation, I feel that the recent action by the Supreme Court will have an adverse impact on it. Most important is the fact that the decision puts the brakes on a 20-year history of adverse rulings by federal courts on public prayer. It also indicates a more conservative trend by the Supreme Court in many areas of our national life, although some decisions in the recently completed term, such as that affecting congressional districting, were highly questionable in my judgment. Another recent decision that will impact on Congress is the striking down of the so-called congressional veto. This is a very complex and controversial issue because it involves the use of a veto by Congress over actions by the executive branch of government. The Supreme Court felt that the legislative veto violates the concept of separation of powers, which forms the basis of our structure of government. It is especially important in my role as chairman of a judiciary subcommittee which deals with the question of regulatory reform. In fact, I have been conducting a series of hearings to determine what the various agencies of government are doing to either restrict or eliminate burdensome regulations. On occasions, the legislative veto has been used to curtail certain edicts by federal agencies. And in the months ahead, Congress will be searching for ways to reestablish some control over these regulations after this historic court ruling. The Supreme Court also handed down some significant rulings in the area of criminal justice. One decision ruled that police do not need a warrant to search a package after customs officials discovered it contained illegal drugs. In addition, the court upheld a new legal shortcut that could accelerate the pace of executions for capital crimes. Also, in a major case involving the constitutionality of the draft and the selective service system, the Supreme Court ruled that the government can deny federal aid to students who fail to register for the draft as is now required by law. While the Supreme Court under Chief Justice Warren Burger has not rendered decisions as controversial as those in the Earl Warren years, there is no question that in the recently completed term, it was one of the most active and controversial in the court's history. This is Congressman Sam B. Hall, Jr. reporting to you from Washington. Thank you for listening.